Well, today on Camry Tip 101, we're going to talk motor swaps. 2001 all the way back to 1992 are pretty much all the same cars. There's variances, don't get me wrong, but in the motors, they're all interchangeable. So, if you're looking to do a 4-cylinder 92 to a 4-cylinder 97, there's a couple things that you're going to have to change. One, the back motor mount is a different height. It's because of the axle perch is a much different height. So if you're going to be swapping a 97 into a 92, make sure you bring the 97 back motor mount. And that, my friend, is located right here. You can't see it. Let me just show you. This is your back motor mount on a 97 to 2001. This height of this unit here is different. So if you go to change these, you must make sure you bring this mount over. It simply comes off with three 14 mil bolts on the bottom. So that's the first step, is changing that. But if you pull the 3 bolts off the bottom of the backside, they easily swap over. The front mount is different as well between 92 to 96 and 97 to 2001. So make sure you put the proper mount in for the motor that you're choosing. Transmission mounts are all the same for 4 cylinders unless you have a manual. So how you pull these is, one, you take the whole sub at the bottom, and I find that to be the most easiest way because I have a hoist. For you guys at home that just have an engine crane like this or a tree outside that you use, the easiest way is you pull your axles, so you take the tires off, take your struts out, take the axles out, put it all back together so it's movable, or if you have an engine crane, leave it all out. Once you pull it out, you have 3 bolts holding the motor mounts on the front. 2 from the top, 1 from the bottom. You have 2 mounts on the transmission side that come up from the bottom, and you have 3 bolts on the back side that come up from the bottom. Some other stuff that you have to pull out is obviously your power steering. Your power steering comes from your subframe to your power steering pump at 24 mil. We'll undo that. You got to be careful because there's 2 little copper bushings on both sides of it. And your brake booster, your fuel lines, your throttle cable, everything like that. Reminds me of a meme I seen. A meme, I always say it wrong. A meme I seen. It has a picture of an engine crane that says, testing the tensile strength of everything you forgot to unplug and undo. Which is true, because I mostly rip throttle cables out of every car because I forget about them. But yeah, that's the simple ways. So make sure you guys are putting the right motor mounts in for the right car you have. It all pretty much interchangeable. V6s, a lot of the motor mounts are different. The V6 and the 4-cylinder subframes are the same subframes, and all the motor mounts switch out. If you're doing a V6 to a 4-cylinder swap, there's a couple of extra steps you got to do. First off is the high pressure line on the power steering has to be swapped out. The V6s is a different design, different shape, different location. So take the V6 one off, put a 4-cylinder one on, just the pressure line, or you can change out the whole steering rack. The second thing is the spindles. The V6 spindles are much different. They're a bigger axle. So maybe get rid of the V6 spindles and put 4-cylinder spindles in. I have heard stories, and I've actually seen it in person, people putting V6 transmissions onto 4-cylinder motors. They say that it's got bigger internals and the axles are bigger, which I agree. It probably has bigger internals, and the axles are definitely bigger. But it's a lot of work, and I've never done it myself, but apparently it is possible. Other things that if you're doing a V6 swap is the brake booster line is much different, so maybe take it off your 4-cylinder and put it into the chassis before you put this in, because how the brake booster hooks up is in a much different spot. Other than that, everything's pretty much identical. Even the shifter from a V6 can be put onto a 4-cylinder, you just got to change the bracket. But the cable's all the same. Pretty much that's it, to be honest. These motor swaps here in my garage, I have them down to about, I can take one motor out and put one motor in, so drive it in on a V6, drop the motor, put a 4-cylinder on the subframe, put the 4-cylinder in the car, and drive it back out of the shop in about 4 to 5 hours by myself. Now mind you, that is derby talk, that is not street talk, so there's no air filter, there's no cooling systems in them, there's no air conditioning. I just basically cut out the stuff I don't need. But that's Camry 101 for motor swaps. If you guys think I've missed anything, please feel free to let me know. doing a 4-cylinder into a V6 is very easy into these, and that's why I have so many 4-cylinder motors laying around, because I'm not going to throw out a motor that could do me good in the future, especially when the 4-cylinder is becoming less and less common, and the V6s are, because pretty much all the 4-cylinders are being bought up for derbies. But if you guys think I forgot anything, put it down below. I'd be great help for me and probably other drivers as well. So this motor here is going to be going into this car. Now this was a factory 4-cylinder car, but it has a V6 sub into it because I used the 4-cylinder sub in a different car. This is a 4-cylinder motor out of a, I'm going to say 98. And this right here is actually a 99 motor chassis. So everything's going to go in there very smoothly. I'm just going to drop it in, do up all my motor mounts. She'll be good to go. I can probably have this thing driving out of here in probably the next hour. So thanks everybody for watching. That's your Camry tip of the day, 101, however you guys want to do it. But don't be afraid to do motor swaps. They're pretty easy. Days of doing motor swaps underneath trees is not done for the derby world. See you guys back here tomorrow.